Hello, welcome to She Boss Talk. I am Shante Roddy. I am coming on to talk about the EIDl Targeted EIDl Grant, EIDl Loan, PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, how to get unstuck from the pending status to get approved and funded through the SBA or your SBA lender. Come on in. Let's talk about this because a lot of you all entrepreneurs and small business owners are still stuck and you have not been approved or funded. So we're going to get you to that place so you can get a financial lifeline for yourself, your business, and your families. The funding is limited. It is dwindling down, so you definitely want to act with a sense of urgency to get your applications in, to be proactive in following up and following through so that you get your funding. So as we are welcoming those of you all who are coming on, let us know who you are, where you're hailing from, what your business is. Thank you so much to our subscribers who are part of our family. Thank you for all of our new viewers. If you have not subscribed already, do subscribe. Hit that love button, give it a thumbs up so more people see this. If you know an entrepreneur, small business owner who is struggling, who doesn't know about the program or know and are having challenges with getting funded, please tag them in this video or share it to them, right? Share it with them to email, wherever you need to do, because again, the time is now. So I'm going to speak specifically regarding the EIDl program, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, and they have a targeted EIDl grant. So I know there's many of you all are applying for both. They recently extended the EIDl loan program. They deferred it out. They also are allowing for increases. And a lot of you have been asking about your emails and how long the process is going to take. So I want to address a lot of those questions and concerns. Please do notate your questions in the comments. I'm going to utilize this time to answer your questions. If you have questions related to PPP or EIDl, whether it's the loan or the grant, please drop them in the comments. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to start first with the Paycheck Protection Program. Okay, they extended the deadline, but the deadline is around the corner. It's May the 31st. Okay, funding will not last that long. You have an opportunity right now to apply for first draw if you haven't done it already, and if you've applied for a first draw and were funded and used the majority of your money, meaning allocated the funds, then you can apply for second draw. Now, the SBA had stated prior, right, or before, that in order to get second draw, you had to wait 8 weeks. They announced that they changed that. So you do not have to wait 8 weeks. You don't even have 8 weeks at this point. So that is more of a reason to apply. That means you can get double the money. And Paycheck Protection Program is a forgivable loan, which means once you use the money for what's intended, if you have employees, you use 60% on payroll, 40% on non-payroll related costs. You can do the same if you have no employees. So all you gig workers, self-employed individuals out there, network marketers who have not yet applied for the program, apply for the program and see if you can get funded. You had to have started your business or been in operation as of February 15th of 2020. If that is you, I would encourage you to apply for this program. Okay, first draw, second draw. So like I have two companies. I have applied under both companies. I'm on my second draw for one company. I'm on my first draw for the second company. So I'm going to walk you through this process because, again, don't stay stuck in the pending status. Some of you all are messaging me saying you've been months waiting. You should not have to wait a month or months in order to get some form of a status update on where you are with your application and to get funded. Now, we do know that there were around 2 million. This is before the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 passed to add additional funding. That the SBA, there was about 2 million that were held up due to some system errors on the SBA side. There were about between 160 to 190,000 that were held up in the approval process. My understanding is that they have worked through those, and they're still continuing to work through those. Okay, so if you have applied, if you have not applied, if you have applied to a lender, this is the first thing. You can apply with other lenders. Know that you can apply with more than one lender. You can only be funded by one. If you are waiting and you've done all you can do, that's all you have control over. You submit everything that they are asking you for. And when I say everything, if you leave something out, it's going to further delay the process and may cause you to be denied. But once you submit, there's really nothing else you can do except for follow up. Give it some time. Give it time for the process to work. When I say time, a week, I really never let more than a week go by before I'm following up for a status, and whether I'm emailing, usually I'm getting on the phone with someone to try to walk through it, just because I'm working with so many other people, and I work through any of my own particular challenges that I have with regards to the Paycheck Protection Program. So mine has been really pretty quick. And like I said, I've never really gone more than 2 or 3 days without getting an update until last week. Okay. But I made some changes. And so that could have impacted it. So I wanted to make sure that I followed up. And so I followed up on the status of both businesses. Okay. Today. So let me talk about the one business, which is She Boss Talk. So this is my newer business that I applied for the Paycheck Protection Program. If you're applying for the Paycheck Protection Program, you can apply using your 2019 gross income or 2020. I recommend you use whichever is highest. Okay. So I had already been approved. I received the promissory note, the loan documents to sign, the DocuSign portion. But what I noticed, I had made an error. It was all ready to go, but the error would have cost me more money. So I had to go through, call multiple times. You have to be persistent. You have to do whatever you have to do to get the funding that you want. Okay. So it was worth it to me to continue to follow up, make sure I was talking to the right people. So I actually had to get them to withdraw the DocuSign and get me back to the portal where I could upload corrected information, which I did. So I count the days, right? So it's more than a week. And I'm like, that's pretty strange. I usually hear back within at least 3 days. And I hadn't on this one particular business. So I said, okay, I'm going to call today. Called today, got a rep on the phone, explained my situation to her of what I did. I actually made the change. But I said, it's been more than 3 days. That's unusual. What can we do to move this forward? Like, what is the status? So she said, while we were on the phone, what she was going to do is initiate the DocuSign. About 20 minutes later, the DocuSign email notification for me to go in and sign the documents was in my inbox. About 10 minutes later, I received another email that said, no further action is required of you. We just want to let you know that that we have moved it to the SBA for SBA's approval. So that was in a matter of 30 minutes that all of that happened by me calling them and getting someone on the line and walking through that process. So I've heard a lot of times you all are waiting and you never attempt to follow up by email, never attempt to make a phone call. I'm not going to say it's going to be that quick, but if you can't get a hold of someone or you need to escalate it, you have to do whatever you have to do as many times as that you need to do it. So for that one, now I'm just waiting for the SBA to come back with my loan number. So once they do that, I know relatively quickly after that, I will receive my funding, my deposit. So then again, I'll be coming on to tell you that I received my funding, but I'm excited that we moved that forward. So don't wait more than a week. And with Paycheck Protection Program, even if they're not responding, you can't get a hold of someone, let that application sit and apply with another lender. You are not held to only apply with one lender. You can apply with as many lenders as you want. So we've helped many people through David Allen Capital. I also recommend Womply. because they have many different lenders. So you submit one application, and again, whichever one hits that says you're approved, they give you your loan number, you go with that lender and get that deposit. Okay. So, but I already know everything is set up. All my accounts have been double, triple checked. I know that they're set. I know they accept. I know their business accounts, number one. So I'm not going to have any of these issues that some of you all have trying to use PayPal, trying to use Cash App, trying to use Chime and personal accounts for business transactions. SBA is a small business federal agency. And when these notifications come through for these large amounts, and you have not contacted your bank to let them know, they're going to reject it. So now banks like Chime, which is not a business bank account, are rejecting all PPP funds. Okay, they're now doing that. They just now doing it. Okay, and so people are seeing their $20,000 deposits are being rejected, $30,000 are being rejected. But my understanding is with Chime, they're going to allow you all to create a different account, but it may take a couple weeks. I don't know if you have a couple weeks because your application is already there. And then if you change your banking information, right? Because some of them are closed, so they will take the deposit and they're shutting your account down. So you have to know, is this the same account you're using for PPP and EIDl? And so you know already if your targeted EIDl grant, you've already updated that bank account, and now you get approved and they can't get it in your account, then they're going to decline you. It's no guarantee they're going to come back and say, okay, well, update your information again, and we're going to now deposit it. That's why I say it's so important. I don't care if you're a gig worker, you're in business. You could debate me all day about why you don't need to have a business bank account. This is why. At minimum, you should be, before you get any deposit, you call your bank and you let your bank know that you're applying for SBA funding. When I went to create my second business bank account, I did that. And they asked me, how much of deposits do you expect? I said, well, I'm applying for grants, so I expect anything between X and X. Okay. So you have to let them know that, so then they can put that on file. So it's not coming through like, oh my goodness, this is not correct. Like all of this money is coming. And then again, that throws a fraud alert and investigative measures, which shuts down your account, which means you won't have access to your money. This is happening to millions of businesses that are applying for these programs. So I want you to be aware, address these issues ahead of time so you don't get stuck in the process, because it's going to be, again, way more challenging to try to figure out, how do I get that money back that they try to deposit in my account? Now they can't deposit it. Okay. So my understanding, again, Cash App may work for one program and it may not work for another. Okay. Whatever you're using, you may say, oh, it worked for me this time. It may not work the next time. And for other types of grants, it will not work, because it's mandatory for a lot of them. You have a business account. Okay. It's mandatory. Now, my understanding with Cash App is that they said they will. I do not recommend, again, using Cash App. They said they will accept up to, but no more than $25,000 in one individual deposit. So I saw that notice come out yesterday or the day before, and likewise for Chime with their announcement that they were going to start rejecting every single PPP deposit that is coming through. Okay, so know that in advance to prepare, so again you don't get stuck in that process, and then just make sure that you're following up on the process. Now with my other company, I'm on the second draw, so it took 17 days from beginning to end for me to get my deposit in my bank account. It took 17 days. Okay, the second one, I requested a change as well. And so that one went pretty quickly, but I requested a change and then it got stuck for a week. So I addressed both in my conversation today for them to figure out what was going on with my other company where it got stuck with funding. Now, this is what happened. They said, I went through all the paperwork. They sent it to the SBA. The SBA sent it back rejected, saying that this has happened. If this has happened to you, let me know. the SBA came back and said that I have another pending loan with some other lender. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, no, I do not. Okay. So I created an account in, I think it's called KWEB, CAWEB at SBA.gov, and was able to check the status, see what loan was popping up there. And it was my first draw loan. Okay. And it said active undispersed. So I emailed the SBA. They have a particular email for all these different programs. Any different issue, they have a particular email that you would email them to. Okay. So I did that to let them know the problem, that their system was causing this error, and I was not able to get moved to the next phase, which is to get funded. Right. So I did that today. So they were working on both issues. So I'm just waiting to hear back to see if I get that next notification from the SBA with my assigned loan number. Like I said, as soon as I get that, as always, I will keep you all informed. But I'm monitoring all of these different programs, right? So I know how challenging it can be, but I want to be funded. I've already calculated how much this is going to bring into my business and how it's going to impact my business and what I'm going to allocate these funds to. So you need to know that as well. And you need to make sure that you're allocating these funds appropriately. So like I said, if you don't have any employees, you can spend 100% on salary replacement is what it's called, or owner's compensation, which is the max you can get is $20,833 per draw. Somebody asked that the other day. Per draw is the max that you can get. And that's a lot of money. Okay. That is a lot of money that you can get for your business, and you can get 100% forgiven. Now, the process is to get it forgiven is super simple, especially for those that were funded $150,000 or below that number. Is a simple application form. You go back to your lender. Your lender will notify you, or you follow up. Don't wait for the lender. You follow up and ask them about their forgiveness process, when it will be available. But most lenders have this information that you can find on their website. Okay. Use the contact information that they have to follow up and ask the questions that you need to have answered. People are getting forgiven, but there's still millions of people that haven't even requested forgiveness of their loan. That's what you want to do and need to do in order for it to turn from a loan into a grant. Okay. So it's just when your lender has that process open. We know with the new bill, they made some changes, better improvements to the process and the forms and the requirements for forgiveness. And so they're updating their systems for that. And again, they should notify you. But if you have a question about it or you don't know, just follow up with them accordingly, is what my recommendation would be. That's for Paycheck Protection Program. Okay. Now, for EIDl, okay, it's not as simple as you could just go to any lender, right? You could just leave it and go to a lender. But there may be some things that you have overlooked and you're wondering, why hasn't the SBA followed up? I mean, I've been waiting for weeks and weeks, and and especially a lot of you all that's from February, you got those early notifications because you were in the first wave. You have received the partial grant of the targeted EIDl grant. Now you're trying to get the full 10,000 or the balance thereof. You all are saying that you're stuck. Let me tell you, every application is different. Like when I went in, when I applied, I got my invite from the SBA. That's the only way you can apply for targeted EIDl grant, is by invite only. And you had to have applied to the EIDl program on or before December 27th of 2020. Okay. I received my invite. I applied that same day. Okay. And that same day, I received an email notification that my portal was updated. So it's some of you that's saying that you didn't receive a portal. It's some of you saying that you didn't receive a 4506T form, tax request form from the SBA. It was in my portal under requested documents. Some of you all said that the SBA emailed it to you. Okay. It was in my portal. I signed it there. However, I was going back to monitor my my status in my portal, and it said processing. But one thing that I saw that I didn't move forward with because it seemed out of place. And this is what I missed. And so you're probably missing it too. And I notified our followers yesterday to take note and go into your portal and check to see if this is you. So I was in my portal. It said processing, and underneath it said all those 3 items that they request, like verification of identity, your 4056T, all those were completed. It said my application was processing. And on the side, on the right, it says submit for processing. So I'm like, okay, why would it say processing and then tell me to submit? So I didn't want to hit that button and something go wrong or take me back to the beginning. I didn't want to do that. But I'm like, okay, today I'm at the 21st day. So I'll always let the days run out. And I bugged the SBA. If they said it was going to be 21 days, I'm letting them, the 21 days come. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's near the 21 days. Let me just check in and make sure everything is being processed right. You can't just assume that it is. We know that there has been errors and glitches and all sorts of things happening with these programs. So it's important to check in. That's what I did. The lady said, yes, it's in process. She said, but you have to submit. She said, did you see that submit button? You have to submit for it to move forward for review. So it was sitting for weeks. That it could have been processed. I could probably have the money in my account at this point had I known this, right? And so I know many of you all don't even know that you didn't hit the submit button, and it says processing, but you haven't hit submit, and so it's not submitted for actual review. And you're wondering why the SBA has not followed up with you to give you a status on what's happening. So mine, it was just in limbo. It was stuck until I hit that submit button, and it's a blue button, okay, that says submit for processing. I hit that button and reset all those other items, the verify ID, the 4506T, and so they will go to review, and I'm sure they will re-verify my identification, review the 4506T, and then let me know, come up with some type of determination. But that's something that I missed. But again, on the SBA's end, it's confusing to tell somebody it's in process or processing, and it's not. But one thing to consider is in the portal, you also have your loan, right? So your loan may be processing, but your targeted EIDL is not, it's stuck, okay? So it's important to follow up and just make sure that what you are following up on, whether it's the loan or the grant, that you know what the status is. And if you need to get somebody on the phone to walk you through that, do that. The SBA with regards to EIDl is really, I've never had a problem getting someone on the line. They work on the weekends as well. I've gotten correspondence from them in the middle of the night. Okay. So I have never had a problem with getting a hold of the SBA regarding my EIDl loan or grants. Okay. Now I have had to escalate issues because again, you may be talking to somebody brand new. They may not know a lot. You may need to escalate it up to a tier 2 or tier 3 person, or even a supervisor, just depending on how long you've been waiting, right? We're a year in at this point, over a year in. But the targeted EIDL is relatively new. So again, that was on my end. So I hit the submit button. Now we're going to wait and see. So I'm going to give it a week and see if I hear anything back, if they request my re-verification of identity, which they're going to do. And so just in case you don't know, they're going to ask you for front and back of your photo ID, and they may ask you to take a picture on screen, a side photo, just like they do for all you Uber drivers, you rideshare people. You know that they do that. They will stop you in the middle of a drive and have you pull over to the side of the road to verify your identity. Yes, it's legal. And yes, it's to make sure you're who you say you are. Again, because there's a lot of fraud that they're trying to prevent, to make sure that the funding gets to the people who need it and are supposed to have it. So if you have to give them all your information, which you will, because your business is transparent. It's not like you're personal. You know, you're private if you think so. Okay. You're only so private in a digital age. I'm sorry to tell a lot of you all, but your business is not. Your business is transparent. It's public information. And if they ask for whatever they ask for pertaining to your business, you have to be able to give it. If you don't, that means you don't want the money enough and they're not going to give it to you. I mean, it's just that plain and simple. Okay. So as far as your EIDl, if you are stuck, if you have not gotten a status, you want to call them or email them. And I would say call them and get a status, find out where you are. It may be something that you're not aware of that's holding up the process. And then some of you all said you applied and didn't get an email, a second email, or didn't get an access to a portal. You may not have. So again, I would not just wait weeks upon weeks upon weeks and let months go by and then the money is gone again. Okay. Call the SBA and find out what the status is on your EIDl grant, your targeted EIDl grant. Okay. Now, for the loan, you want to do the same thing. If you, at this point, the SBA has been really good about sending out invites early on for the increases. So if you are just not applying for the EIDl loan, it's already in consideration. There's nothing additional you have to do because the SBA changed the caps. So it's no longer 150,000. The cap is 500,000, and it went from 6 months worth of working capital to 24 months of working capital. Which is a big difference. It's a huge difference on the amount of money that you can get for your business. And so my understanding that they're moving really quickly on that. But again, they will ask you for that 4506T. You will be held up if you do not have your 2019 taxes on file with the IRS. Even if you completed your taxes, that does not mean that the IRS has them on file. My recommendation would be to request your own taxes to see what comes back before the SBA does. So you will know where you stand. So do that because with the targeted EIDl grant, there is no reconsideration. Now, there's not technically a reconsideration. Now, what I would do is I'm going to file if it comes back I'm denied. I know it's not a legitimate reason. Like I can't even imagine why I would be denied, but it's possible. But I already know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to submit an email letting them know that this information is incorrect. And then I'm going to reach out to my regional director of the SBA. And if I need to, I'm going to reach out to my congressmen and women and have them sign a form in order to provide a release so that they can operate on my behalf to get me additional help to escalate the matter. So you have a recourse. It's not just stopping at talking to the low-level reps that you're talking to. You want to escalate it as much as you need to professionally to get your issues resolved. Now, for those of you that are not applying because you are on unemployment or you receive some other type of funding, you can get Paycheck Protection Program funding, you can get unemployment, and you can get EIDl. You can even get Shutter Venue Operators Grant when they get it back up and running after it shut down the first day, right? With Shutter Venue Operators Grant, they will just offset the amount of your Shutter Venues grant with the PPP money that you receive. If you're on unemployment, it works the same way as if you were to get a job this week or take on contract work this week, okay? Then what you do is you don't file a claim or you report the money that you receive. You're not filing a claim for this week. So you're going to pause the unemployment for the weeks that you are using your funding, your PPP for owner's compensation or your salary replacement. That is your salary. So there's no reason to be on unemployment if you're getting a salary. That's what unemployment is. You're on unemployment because you're either working less and not making enough money so that you can get unemployment, or you're not working at all. So when you get your owner's replacement from your PPP, you're going to schedule that out in intervals. You need to use the funding between 8 and 24 weeks, right? You're going to schedule that out. You're going to pay yourself, whether through your accounting system or, like I told many of you all, what I do is I pay myself and through bill pay through my business account. I set myself up as the payee. I put in the memo that is my owner's compensation, and I put PPP attached to it, because it's not just owner's compensation, it's directly linked to PPP. So if anyone ever asks or inquires, or just because I need to know as a business owner where my money is going, I know that I paid myself the PPP money, right? My salary replacement, as related to the Paycheck Protection Program requirements. Okay, so if for the reason that you're thinking you can't apply for any other grants, that is not true. You can't be on unemployment. That's not true. You pause your unemployment, you get the funding, you use it, and then if you still need to go back on unemployment, you just restart your claims. You don't close out your file. Like, I still have an open file for unemployment, but I haven't filed a claim since mid 2020. Okay. That's because I started making money in my business, and that's what you all want to do. You want to take the PPP money, your EIDl loan money, your EIDl grant money to stimulate your own economy so you're not on unemployment, right? What do you need to assess? What do you need? What are your goals for your business? Do you need more staff? Do you need more marketing so you can get your products and services in front of your target market so you can attract the clients that you want that will pay you the money for your products and services? So you need to understand what you need the money for. And the money is for business-related purposes, not personal. Don't get yourself in trouble. And someone asked me the other day, can you use it to buy property, real estate, land? No. The SBA is very clear on what you can use the monies for as it pertains to your business. So there's a lot you can use it for. The purpose is to restore your business to the point it was prior to COVID. Okay. It is not for you to grow your business, although the things that you would use it for will grow your business, but it's not meant to expand your business. I should say that. It's there for you to recover from COVID-19. Okay. So I hope that that's clear. For you all, I'm just going to go really quickly, see if there are any questions. Again, if you have questions as it relates to Paycheck Protection Program or EIDl, please let me know in the comments. As I'm going through this, there's two forms, a 940 form that some of you are being requested and you don't have employees, but the lenders are not letting you get past this without filling out the form. It's the 940 form. And 941 is related to unemployment, right? You don't have employees. If you're not on payroll yourself, you're not paying employees, this does not pertain to you, but don't ignore it. Fill out the form and you will see it would ask you questions. And it specifically says, if this does not apply to you, either leave it blank or move on to the next number or the next field. You want to do that. But don't not submit the form. Get the money. Now, I can't answer why they haven't everybody fill out that form. It's not, you shouldn't have to. I've not ever been asked from my lender. Again, it depends on your lender. I have not been asked to fill out a 940 or 941 form as a business that has 0 W-2 employees. But if they did, I would do exactly what I just said. If I can move forward, I would fill it out, all your information at the top, the business information. And if it's asking me what I paid in payroll costs to allocated for unemployment for my employees, I will put zeros. Okay. It's the same thing with you all, the schedule of liabilities 2202, and knowing what to put on the form. And you're like, okay, I don't have any liabilities. Then you state that on the form, but you don't just ignore it and not submit it. Okay, so we have plenty of explainer videos on all these programs, PPP and EIDl, on our YouTube channel. So again, if you need help and free help, our YouTube channels have helped thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs get free funding for their business just by watching the videos. But you could take it a step further and get our winning grant application cheat sheet. You can get our Win Grants with Ease Masterclass bundle. It just depends on how much funding do you want? What are your goals? I mean, so we have at whatever level you're at, we can meet you right there so that you can take proactive measures to get funding for your business. This is the time. It's a sense of urgency right now. The funding will not be available very much longer. The last that I saw, it was around PPP was around 60 billion. And we already know millions apply for the EIDl program, and they're going through millions to give them funding, and then they're going to give a subset of those individuals that get the $10,000 a $5,000 supplemental grant. So if you want to learn more information, go to the targeted EIDl grant video for more information on that. Nonprofits, really quickly, because people are asking me about nonprofits. Nonprofits are similar to other businesses in how you calculate. The SBA actually has a calculation PDF on their website, depending on how your business is structured. So if you have a question related to how you calculate your PPP amount, based on how you structured your business, based on how you file your taxes, what forms you use, they give clarification around that. So, but the most people that I find that are having the challenges are self-employed people that don't follow regular business practices and don't know that they necessarily qualify. This is your opportunity because they changed the rules where you can calculate based on your gross income instead of your net. That means millions more eligible, and then you're eligible for thousands more of free money. Free money for your business. If you know a gig worker, network marketer, independent contractor, please let them know about this video. Point them to this channel. Share it across social media wherever you are, because there's still millions of you all out there that don't know you qualify. I get those messages all the time. It's because someone saw a video. That's why I never know who's watching the video. You may not see it, the previous ones, and you may have just come on and like, discover, wow, I really could qualify for this program. Yes, you do not have to have employees. So I have a lot of peers that said that they did not know that they qualified for this program. And as soon as they found out, they started applying that day. Do not hesitate. Okay, so someone is saying that their ID won't go through. She doesn't know what else to do. I don't know. Sometimes something like that similar to me happened the other day when I was trying to get into that the SBA CLS website to correct the issue where it was saying I had another application somewhere, and it would not work. It would not work for me. I tried on the computer. I tried on my phone. I walked away from that thing, and do you know my account was populated? It's like it populated itself. Sometimes you just have to step away, because I can get frustrated, real and impatient trying to work with these systems. Step away sometimes. Maybe you have to shut down your computer, refresh, and then go back and try it again. If that still doesn't solve the problem, try to reach out to them, send them an email. They all have contact information. Some are quicker than others to respond back. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but if you can't get through to them, do what you can do. Then wait to hear back from them, but apply somewhere else. Okay. That resolves that problem, because you may get delayed somewhere else, get approved with another lender. You may get denied with one lender and get approved with another lender. So, but if you just stuck on one lender, you're just stuck. So the point of this video is we're getting unstuck. We're going to get out of pending status, and we're going to get approved and funded. Ashley, I do one-on-one consults. I'm not available today, but I can provide you with my booking link. So you can email me at hello@shebosstalk.com. I can expedite getting you assistance. Someone has a question about PPP money. As an Uber driver, is it okay to do a down payment on a car? I know that I can use the money to buy. that is not one of the, I can't tell you that you can't. It is not listed as an eligible expense. If it's helping you with operations, it doesn't say that you can't do that, right? But it's saying normal operating expenses, and as an Uber driver, you having a car is a part of your normal operating expense. Then there you go. That's your answer. Because you use your car in order to do business. So you have to look at it like that. What is your business? What are your business needs? What are your standard operating expenses for your business? That would tell you if you can use it for that reason. So Cindy is saying she was denied the EIDl grant because the IRS reported no record. Yeah. So if you haven't seen my video, the one that says the targeted EIDl grant top 5 reasons why people are getting declined, go watch that video because that is one of the top ones. I mean, advocates are aware. They're aware that this is an issue right now. Again, what I would do is I would follow up with the SBA, and I mean I'm talking the regional director. So all of you, every region has an SBA office and leaders over that SBA office. You also have congressmen and women who you can reach out to get assistance. So although there may not be technically a reconsideration process, you have to fight for yourself, right? It's like, how bad do you want it? And the more people do this, you have more hundreds and thousands and then millions, then they take action and do something about it. Now, is it going to happen overnight? No, we didn't get the $10,000 grants overnight, but it took many of us coming together, pushing and calling and tweeting and emailing and calling to get the $10,000, right? So it took a year to get to that point. So it may take time for you to get your 10,000, but it's worth the time. And the more of us that advocate, that start using our power as small business owners, the more quickly we will see some of these changes. And changes are happening. They have been happening. And we need that to change as well. Because if you've already submitted your taxes, it is not your fault that the IRS has backlogged 24,000 tax returns. That's not your fault. Also, this program is really for the targeted EIDl grant is for those that meet specific criteria, meaning that you have 300 employees or less. You can prove that you had a 30% decrease in gross revenues in 2020 in an 8-week period compared to that same 8-week period, and that you be in a low-income community. Now, everybody that applied for the grant program in 2020 that checked that box that said they wanted the targeted EIDl grant, for which the law said you were entitled to 10,000, not 1,000 per employee. Every single business owner should get that money, regardless of what community you live in, and regardless if you had a decrease or not. Because even if you didn't, all the additional expenses play a role, which is something that hasn't been factored in. So we're continuing to fight for that, but again, it will take time. But know that there are people like myself, there are congressmen and women that are fighting on your behalf to get the full $10,000, regardless of community or percentage of loss, because it was always the law and the CARE Act that passed way back in March of 2020. So I mean, and even if I'm denied, I'm gonna fight for it, and eventually we will all get the full $10,000. You just have to fight for it. Is it fair? It may or may not be, but you have to fight for what you want. Okay, so someone is saying that they submitted a loan. It's still pending SBA loan number for 2 weeks. So I completed it through Womply, but having an issue with the identity check. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and then apply somewhere else. Again, all you can do is your part. You have no control over how long it takes them. Do your part, then let that sit. Don't let it stress you out. Apply to another place, and whichever one hits first, that's the one you go with. I mean, that's my advice on the PPP. Because as we get closer to this funding running out, the delay. I can see the delays are getting there a greater period of time where you may not be hearing back from a rep for 1 or 2 weeks. But I just know from the lender that I'm with that they're usually good about sending an email, even if it's automated. Like, we got your stuff, we're still looking at it. Just let me know something, right? Just let me know something. But it's like if I was waiting all these weeks and months like some of you are, I would just apply somewhere else. Okay. Yeah, so I spoke on someone else is talking about the 941. I spoke on that. Hopefully you got that as well. Someone's saying they called the SBA and they said to wait for the second email. Like, everybody is different, okay? And where you are, because with EIDl is different, because you may have been in the process of your loan, a reconsideration, or it may have been in process already, and now you got the email for the grant. Anything can go wonky in their systems, and I explained that their system for PPP was wonky and held up. So Gloria's saying she doesn't have the submit button. She was funded the first time, and it just says funded for both targeted and loan. Nothing else is listed but documents I submitted. Okay, if it says that you were funded, I would call them. I don't know how long it's been sitting in funded status, but if it says funded, that should mean that you should be getting your deposit soon. And again, it's different for everybody. Some people didn't get a notification and got, like the last time, and the money was in their account. So I monitor my bank accounts and I monitor my emails. If it shows up in my bank account without me getting an email, great. But you may not always get an email. That's why it's best that you just call the SBA. No, the grant, someone is asking about the EIDl grant, if it's based on income. From 2019 to now, not necessarily. They're going to look at an 8-week period, of 2020, because you're going to have to fill out a spreadsheet. And if you go back to my targeted EIDl grant video, I walk through this. So they're going to give you a table, which you have to list what you made in sales, gross sales, every single month in 2019, every single month in 2020, and up to date in 2019. Then they will look at that and compare an 8-week period to see against 2019 for that same 8 weeks and see if it was a 30% decrease. Now, someone mentioned the other day that their accountant did their applications for them and messed it up, and they did it wrong, and they caused them to miss out on $9,000. So whoever is you're working with, whoever these people are if you having somebody help you with your application, please make sure they know what they're doing, because some of you all are you going to these random people that are not vetted. It's a lot of scammers out here. And it's even before this, tax preparers, and you're going to, and they don't know what they're doing. They're doing it wrong. You want to make sure you're working with somebody that knows small business, knows small business tax, and knows about all of these stimulus programs. So they did it wrong. Like, go to the video if you're not clear on how to determine what your sales were, what you grossed in a particular month. The easiest way to do it is to have an accounting system and be regularly inputting your sales and expense history from your bank account, from your PayPals, from your Squares, your Cash Apps, your Stripe, and it goes into your accounting system, QuickBooks, Xero, Waves app. We have recommendations in our cheat sheet. It goes into there, and it's a simple button that you push that will give you a profit and loss statement that you can push to tell what you made in a given month, what you made in a given quarter, what you made in a given year. And you can compare years, compare quarters, compare months with that simple report. Okay. But if you're not tracking your sales and you're not tracking your expenses, it will be hard to generate that report and have it be accurate. But you need to know, what are you bringing in sales every month? And if it's zero, you put zero. If it was $100, you put $100. If it was $8,000, you put $8,000 in that column for that month. That's really how it works. I don't know, Heavenly, what you're asking about personal credit, but let me just say this: credit is not evaluated for PPP applications, but it is for EIDl. It is not for PPP because it's a forgivable loan. So the assumption is you're going to get it 100% forgiven. Okay, for EIDl, it is not forgiven. Not the loan. The loan is not forgiven. It has a 30-year loan maturity. And so it is based on your credit, but you can overcome that decline and get it approved. It may be your credit score. It could be your credit history. So don't just assume it's your score, right? Because some people are like, they will tell you if it's your credit score or if it's your credit history. And then you really need to call them to really get details on what it is so that you know, and then you can then go back and address that denial in a reconsideration and get it funded. So we have a video on that too, how to overcome, how to file a reconsideration and get approved for the loan. Does anyone know how to resubmit a transcript? My recommendation to you is to call the SBA, right? Because it's their system. I don't know that they're going to reopen up a system. Again, it depends on the program. Like it's PPP, the lender they can reopen it, right? I have not heard of SBA reopening up to let you for the targeted EIDl grant. But what they may do is have you email it, right? They have done that. Someone else is saying they wrote off too much for their 2019 taxes, so couldn't get PPP. Now I want to make sure that I have my taxes for 2000. Okay, so I don't know if you're still on, but that doesn't even matter at this point because they changed the way you calculate. It doesn't even matter. It's not based on your net. So your net income takes in consideration all your expenses, which you want to account for. You want to account for all your expenses on your taxes, right? And we know a lot of people had a loss, which meant you were disqualified for that reason because you couldn't calculate zero times zero, okay? But now you can calculate based on your gross on line 7, using line 7 of your Schedule C for Schedule C filers. This is where the money is. This is the change that a lot of you all still don't know about. You base it on your gross. Do the calculation. Take that line number 7, divide that number by 12. That's going to give you your monthly gross average payroll, your monthly average payroll amount. You're going to times that by 2.5. If you're in the food industry, using code 72, you can times it by 3.5, which is 3.5 months. Okay, so you can apply for PPP if you made money in gross. If you made a good amount gross, you should apply. Someone is asking about how to spend the PPP and EIDl loan funds. I would recommend going to our video. Again, we have a playlist, and we actually have a video that says the do's and don'ts of spending EIDl loan and grant money. We have a similar video for a paycheck protection program. I will also drop it in the comments. I think I put a post on our community wall on YouTube and our Facebook wall. And I will just drop it in the comments to let you know for PPP as well. But normal operating expenses is what you can use it for. You cannot use it for any personal matters, right? Taking a vacation, getting a new purse, buying food. Now, once you pay yourself, and it's clear you have paid yourself a salary, you do what you normally do with your salary. At that point, you can use it for whatever, but you need to have been clear that it was allocated towards your salary. Then you use your salary for whatever you use it for. Okay, that's the difference. You can use your salary once it's paid to you for whatever you want to use it for. But if you, depending on your situation, if you're using it for operational expenses, it must go towards your rent, mortgage, utilities, advertising, marketing, technology, PPE equipment. I mean, it's a lengthy list on what you can use the monies for. But you can't use it to go buy real estate, property, those types of things. Someone is inquiring about 1122. Okay, I'm not really understanding your question, but you're in process since February. You need to put an application in somewhere else, or is this for targeted EIDl grant? If you've been in any status more than a month, you need to be calling. You need to be calling somebody, the SBA, if it's the SBA, or the SBA lender, whoever you're working with, depending on the program. An EIDl advance is showing as approved in her portal now, but haven't received any additional information. Well, congratulations on the approval. It may take a couple of days or weeks to get the funding. There's no consistent time period. So people ask that all the time. How many days did it take you? People are on pins and needles. I understand it, but everybody is in a different boat. So if somebody received theirs in 3 days, that doesn't mean you're going to receive yours in 3 days. Okay, just keep monitoring the status. I've emailed and called, and they're telling me they don't have anything more for me. Well, that's the most that you can do. If they're not saying that you owe them, that's the one thing. You don't want them to say that there's something you didn't do. That's what you want to verify. Have I followed all the steps? Is there anything missing that I may not be aware of? Is a question you want to ask. Now, if they say, ma'am, sir, we have everything, it's just in process, then it's just in process. You just have to be patient. You just want to make sure you're not missing anything. And had it not been for me calling to go through it with the representative, I would probably still be waiting and not knowing I should have hit that submit button for my targeted EIDl grant in the portal. Okay. All right, so it's still a lot of questions here. Again, as always, I will follow up after the broadcast. I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, for those of you that are just coming on, I highly recommend you go back for the replay, because we talked about how to get unstuck. So many of you are still stuck in the pending status, right? Let's get you moved from the pending, get you approved, and get you funded. Then come back to me and let me know that you were funded, for how much, and how much you're going to use this money for. Okay. Today we've been talking specifically on the Paycheck Protection Program and the EIDl loan and targeted EIDl grant programs. Okay. A lot of funding that you can get for you to support your business. A lot. And just in these 3 programs alone, you can get. And there's many more stimulus programs and grant programs out there for you to get funding from. You could check out our videos to learn more about that. So again, I hope this has been helpful for you. As always, continue to be the boss with amplified impact. Continue to stay safe and stay in good health. Have a wonderful day.